friends, and welcome back to my crafty space. My name is Crystal, and in today's video, I am going to be putting together my last two projects using the Cozy Story Kit from Ali Edwards for this month's Story Kit Crush. So the stories I'm telling today, one of them is about our cat, Mr. Dibs, who is this cat on the top of the little tree here. And I actually have a traveler's notebook that is dedicated to stories about him. It's not very full because I just randomly put stories in there when the theme suits him. And cozy and cats definitely go hand in hand. So that is a story we will be working on together. The other one is a story about my niece. I really like to challenge myself to tell stories about each of my own children and stories about my niece using each of these story kits. So this project is going to be all about her. I used the card that just says around here and had her mom, my sister-in-law, send me a few things about some things that are happening around their home in regards to my niece, May. So we are going to be putting together a 3x8 project for her album. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and put you on fast forward. We will get both of these pages assembled, and then when everything is completed, we will slow back down in order to close out of the video for today. So let's go ahead and jump right in. All right, you guys, so this week we're going to get started first on working in the Traveler's Notebook for Mr. Dibs, our cat. So for this spread, I'm going to be doing a couple of things. The first thing to note is that this Traveler's Notebook is not attached in the middle, and that is on purpose because I actually like to take the pages out when I'm working on them. And then once this album is all the way filled up, I will go ahead and stitch together the spine of the book. So just be aware of that I am going to take the pages out in order to do all the things to them. So then what I'm going to do is take this 4x6 comfy and cozy card and I'm going to chop the thing up. So the first thing I wanted to do was grab the comfy and cozy sentiment there and make that my title piece. So I trimmed a little bit off of the top just so that I could get that phrase to be a little bit more centered once I trimmed it into a 1-inch piece. So the strip is 1 inch by 6 inches, which obviously I will chop part of that off as well. And then I took the rest of it and I cut a portion. To be honest, I don't remember what the size of that was, but it wasn't a perfect square. I want to say it was maybe like an inch and 3/4 by 2 1/4, something in there where I just chopped it into these rectangles. Now, I originally thought that I might be able to use the card for all 4 of the pattern paper spots, but it turned out that I really could only make it work for 2. So I pulled out some paper from another kit, which I'm actually going to be using on the next spread anyway. So I just took a portion off the bottom that I wasn't going to use, and then I used the wood grain on the back of it. That paper is called, I think it's called Very Dear or something with deer in the word, and it's from the Marigold collection by Maggie Holmes, which you can totally find on scrapbook.com, and I'll make sure to link it down below too because it's just a beautiful piece of paper. So I really like it. I like both sides of it. And I'm actually going to be using both sides of it on my projects today. So once I had all 4 of those sections done, I did take out the paper that these are going to go on just so I can work on it a little bit easier. And then I also had printed out 4 pictures at that same size, whatever that size was, which if you are doing a project like this, you just want to take the area where you want your grid to go and divide it by the number of columns and the number of rows, and that's going to help you figure out your sizing for these types of things. I did cut mine a little bit bigger than they needed to be, so I do trim off the edges, which I'm totally okay with that, just to make everything look clean and precise. And then we're just going to build it from here. So I contemplated putting the wood grain on the left side and not the right side, the wood grain on the right side and then the cozy pattern on the left side, but I didn't like the way that looked. So I actually alternated it here instead. I wasn't sure if I was going to like having both of those in the center, in those center rows, but I actually think it looks pretty nice. So we're going to add it there. And then I realized that I put this one on upside down, which you really can't tell that it's upside down, but I would know that it's upside down. So I just went ahead and fixed that. It was no big deal. You know, the adhesive wasn't super strong at that point, so I could just take it up and put it right back down. So I'm filling in all of those square spots, and then for the very bottom, I'm going to take that strip of the cozy paper again and just stick it down at the bottom, and then we'll turn it over and trim off all of the excess all the way around it. I really like having the cozy pattern up at the top and down at the bottom. I think that it helps it to feel complete. I also really love all of the neutral colors in this spread. So for those wood grain squares, I decided to go ahead and add some embellishments. So I have this one that says cozy vibes only down in the bottom, and then I am putting this felt kitty cat up at the top. This was the thing that inspired this entire spread in the first place, so I definitely knew I wanted to find a spot for that kitty to go. Then for those middle squares, what I'm going to do is grab my Slick Writer pen, which is usually my pen of choice. I do have some precision pens that I like as well, but I typically go for my Slick Writer because I like the thickness of the ink when it comes out of the pen. So I will take that and fill those two pattern squares with my journaling for this spread, which I'm just going to keep it simple and basically write about how Dibs is super cuddly and how he makes me just want to cuddle him all the time. And then the other thing I did was to take the comfy and cozy chipboard piece and add it to the bottom of this full page picture. Now the full page picture includes both of our cats. Pumpkin, the little cat, we've had since September, and Dibs we've had for 7 years. So Dibs has his own album, and Pumpkin does not yet because he just hasn't been around for a super long time. And I don't often do spreads for the cats, but every once in a while I like to add a story or so into these albums. So I definitely need to make one for Pumpkin too. I did make sure to go ahead and date stamp the bottom of that spread just on that little piece of pattern down at the bottom, and then called that spread done. So now I'm going to move on to the second spread for today. This one is going to be for a story about my niece. And one thing I wanted to do, this is actually a technique that I did for my day in the life, for the first day in the life. I actually haven't done the second one yet. My plan is to get to that. Hopefully I've already gotten to that because I want to do it in February, and I'm filming this at the very beginning of February. So by the end of February, hopefully that will be done. Anyway, in the first part of my day in the life, this is a technique I did, which is something that Allie did, so I just totally copied her. But basically, I print a photo at 6 inches by 8 inches, and then I cut that photo where there's a portion that's 2.5 inches, and there's a portion that's 3.5 inches, and then the 2.5 inch part folds over. So for that fold over part, I wanted to create my own pattern paper. So I took the word snuggle off of the story stamp there, used my Columbia ink from Allie, and then just repeat stamped that word all over it. And I love the way that it looks. There's a ton of it left, so I actually just set that in with my pattern papers to be able to pull from that later and use it again. So then I grabbed over a piece of cardstock. It's just, honestly, I probably should have used a different paper, like just regular copy paper and not cardstock. But cardstock is what I have in excess in my scrap pile next to me. So I grabbed out a strip of it, I cut it down to 2 inches by 8 inches, and then I scored that right in half. So then what I could do is add adhesive to the inside portions and put that photo together. So you can see where there is the slice down it, but it really doesn't detract too much from the photo. And I think that this is a really fun way to add a full page photo into an album that is 3 inches by 8 inches without having to, compromise the orientation of it. So I can make it 6 inches instead of 3. So for the back side of this, I'm going to add the 2 different kinds of paper. So for the larger section, I'm going to add the foresty paper that you can see in the upper right-hand corner. That's the marigold paper, which I really think is called Very Dear or something, but I'll make sure to link it. But the reason I put pattern paper on the back is because this is actually the last story for this section of the album. I am sectioning the album off by months old. So Mabel is about to turn 5 months old, which means that I will be moving the next stories into the 5-month slot. I do have to go back and fill in the first couple of months, hopefully using some of these story kits during Story Kit Crush here over the next couple of months to get all those stories filled in, and then we'll be up to date with her baby album. So it's, it's coming along. So then I'm going to add the snuggle portion to the 2.5-inch section there. I put a chipboard sticker right on top of that that just says something like, "We are defined by the moments we seize," or something to that nature. And then I have this one last journaling card that I want to cut out the heart portion and turn that into an embellishment. So I say this all the time. Look for shapes in your journaling cards that you can cut out and turn into embellishments. It's a great way to use up more of your cards, especially if you're having a hard time using them. Turn them into embellishments or cut them up and have them be like borders on your page, or, there's all different kinds of things that you can do with them. They don't have to just be a card. So feel free to get creative with that. So I am going to stick this here in the book. I just brought this over here so you could see how it would go in and how it would look. And these other 2 journaling cards are going straight into the divided page protector. No extra anything to that. And I really, really love the way that this page came together. I am super enjoying working in my niece's baby album, so love it. All right, you guys, that completes these last 2 stories using this cozy kit. Love the way that these 2 came together. I've got the spread all about Dibs and how he's just the coziest cat I have ever met. And then this really awesome spread for my niece, which will eventually, I probably should have just used regular copy paper instead of cardstock, but I wanted to use what I had over here in my scrap pile, so it's fine. It'll eventually stay down and not pop up like that. So yeah, I think that this turned out really nicely. And then this will lead into the next month for her album. So this will be her 5-month. And then these stories were from her 4-month. So yes, I think that this is going to be a really awesome baby album. And I love being able to use these story kit themes as prompts for telling stories in this album as well. I hope that you guys have enjoyed seeing all of these projects come together. I know I have really enjoyed creating them with and for you guys. Well, for me, but with you guys. And getting this kit used up. So the only thing I have left at this point is a small packet of materials to use in a Project Life spread. So that will be coming here soon, but it'll be after this video. So we'll be able to use up the rest of the supplies, and then this kit will officially be completely crushed. I will have nothing left. Or if I have like an embellishment, it'll go, or a chipboard piece, it'll just go into my stash. So for next month, we are going to be working through the Progress Story Kit. Now, this is a kit that I have already told a few stories in, but I loved the idea of pairing it with the same month that One Little Word is doing a daily what do I want to say? A daily habit, I suppose, a habit tracker sort of thing. I thought that it would be a really awesome idea to also pair the Progress Story Kit with that. Or even if you're not in One Little Word, the spring and March is such a great time to start creating new habits or to make progress on some of the projects or some of the goals that you had set out for yourself at the beginning of the year. So if you have that progress kit, I would love to have you crush that kit right alongside me. If you don't, that's totally okay too. I would still like to invite you to participate in Story Kit Crush. Just use whatever kit you have in your stash that you would like to get used up next month. All right, you guys, that is going to be it for me for today. I will be back again next week on Monday with another story project and Wednesday with a project life spread. And then next Friday, I will have my story planning process for the progress kit, and then also my first project using that. So I hope to see you guys back here then. Until then, I hope you have a wonderful rest of your weekend, a great finish to the month of February, and I will catch you all in the next video. Bye, you guys.